So this video is a big comparison of Godox's 4 60-watt lights. I know how confusing and overwhelming it can get when there's so many different options, especially with lights, but gear in general. So I'm going to quickly cover what you get with each of these lights when you purchase them, but I will let you know I have individual reviews on all of these lights on the channel, so be sure to check them out later as you'll get more in-depth detail on these lights. Starting with the SL60w, you'll get the light, a reflector dome, the power cable, and a remote. There is no case that comes with this light, it's just the 4 things. Now the UL60 is very similar as it also does not come with a case, but also does not have a remote. It comes with everything else, the reflector, the power cables, and a control box. Now the ML60 and the ML60 Bi both are similar lights and they come with the same exact things. They come with the light, a proprietary reflector, power cables, battery plate, a handle, and a case for everything to be kept inside. It is worth noting that you can purchase a remote separately for the UL60 and the ML60 lights since they don't come with a remote. Additionally, the ML60 has an adapter that you can purchase separately to make it a Bowens mount light. And this leads us to talking about the main features of all of these lights. As I mentioned, the ML60 lights do not have a Bowens mount. They're specialty proprietary mounts, but the SL60 and the UL60 have Bowens mount. When it comes to being powered off of batteries, the UL60 has a V-mount battery option, and the ML60s have an NPF battery option. The SL60w has no battery option. When it comes to controlling the light, all but the UL60 can be controlled from the back of the light. The UL60 has a separate control box which you can control the light from. And of course, all of them can be controlled from a remote, and the only one that can be controlled from an app is the ML60 bicolor light. For quick and easy diffusion, all of these lights have an umbrella mount, except for the UL60. And out of all these lights, the UL60 is the only one with DMX. When it comes to turning fans on and off, the ML60s both have the option to turn the fan on or off. The SL60 does not, and the UL60 is a completely fanless light. And the only lights that are built to be on a light stand and handheld are the ML60s. The UL60, SL60w are both meant to be only on a light stand. All of these lights, except for the SL60w, have special effects that are pre-programmed into the light, such as paparazzi, lightning, or TV. And all of these lights, except for the SL60w, have a dual spigot. Lastly, all the lights are 60-watt output and daylight balanced, except for the ML60 bicolor. That one is bicolor and it has a Kelvin temperature range of 2800 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. Now I know you might be feeling overwhelmed with all that information so far, but next we have some really important stuff, and then at the end I will share with you which light I think is best for what and for who. So stick around till then, but meanwhile, let's talk about the fan noise. Now, as I mentioned, the only light that has no fans is the UL60. That is because it has a completely fanless system. It is passively cooled by using a heat sink. It's a pretty unique design. Now, the ML60 lights, on the other hand, have fans, but they're ultra silent fans. And I can vouch when I say that they are totally silent. You have to put your ear up to them just to even barely hear them. They are whisper silent and have the ability to be turned on and off. So I would say the fan noise there is pretty much 0, maybe 0.1 if you're trying really hard to hear them. Now the SL60w, on the other hand, as many people might already know, does have fan noise. I'm using the SL60w as a key light right now. It's about 3 feet away, and I can certainly hear the fan noise from here. So it has the possibility of being picked up by microphones and sometimes will be picked up. It's one reason why I like the UL60 and the ML60 lights, because they are much quieter. So next, I'm going to share with you how color accurate these lights are, how bright they are at 100% and 1%, as well as the CRI value. I'm going to take all these readings with my Sekonic spectrometer, so they should be really accurate and give you a good idea on what you're going to get with each of these lights. So now we know a lot about these lights, I'm going to quickly just talk about build quality because I do think it's pretty important. So the SL60w is the lesser quality light by far. It has a plastic housing and the yoke system is very poor, as it will often sag with heavier modifiers on the front of it. That is not to say that you can't use the light and that it will break on you, as I've had this light for almost 2 years and it has not broken or failed me yet. However, it is not the most reliable. The UL60 and the ML60 lights, on the other hand, are all high quality. They're made with aluminum housing, they've got pretty much no plastic parts to them, and their yokes are much, much better. But the ML60 lights have the best yoke system out of them all, as it is the smoothest and yet strongest yoke system out of all 4 of these lights. Alright, so now we're at the fun part. We're going to talk about how I've used these lights. Now, I will just tell you that these lights can be used in any way that you can imagine. You can use them as a key, a rim, a fill. You can gel them, you can bounce them. You can even get any Bowens mount accessory you want, stick them on these lights, shape them up, and do crazy stuff with them. I have done all of these things, and I've got plenty of videos on the channel where I show you and share about all of them. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the SL60w has been the key light for the whole video. The ML60 bicolor has been the rim light shining down from the back. And then the UL60 has been gelled and shining on the wall, creating that blue kind of look. And my ML60 just daylight balanced one is not currently in the room, but I'm using it for all of these B-roll shots that you've been seeing as the key light. Those are the most classic ways that I've used them, and I definitely think that's how they would probably typically be used. But I have used all of these lights with a projection unit, with a snoot, barn doors, grids, you name it. There's so many things you can do with these lights, pretty much limitless. So this brings us to the overall thoughts and recommendations for all of these lights. So my overall thoughts on the SL60w is that it's a cheap and decent video light. A lot of people start here and there's nothing wrong with that. 120, 30 bucks for a 60-watt light that's daylight balanced and will do a good job. It's not bad, and I definitely would say if you're there, get this light. It's a great starting point. It's where I started with lights. It was my first real light. Just keep in mind that you will have to deal with the fact that it has some fan noise. It's not too bad. There are worse fans out there, but it's also not the greatest. But if you're anything like how I've become, where you're really picky about the fan noise, you're not going to want to look at the SL60w. I would recommend the ML60 or the UL60. The UL60 is totally designed for the person who is a fanatic about fan noise or just noise in general. Because it's completely fanless, you're not going to have to ever worry about a fan noise being picked up in your audio. Not to mention that this light can be powered off a V-mount battery, so this is a really great option if you're often on the go or do not like to plug into power. And as it's the only light that has DMX controllability, it might be more interesting to those people on the more professional level. So my overall thoughts with the UL60 is that it's sturdy, it's silent, and the only downside is that there is no case that it comes with. But if you're a professional, you're going on shoots anyway, you likely have a giant case, like myself, with all your lights in it. So that might not be a concern. But maybe you're somebody who's looking at the ML60, because my thoughts are it's compact and convenient, super easy to work with, and very, very portable. It's the most lightweight out of all of these lights. It's the smallest and easiest to work with. It's meant to be handheld, put on a light stand, and everything is meant to be compact. I leave one set up all the time in the studio, and I'm grabbing it literally every single day. But it's also great for run and gun situations where you need to grab something and go. It comes with that case, and it has the ability to strap on a light stand and a small softbox so that you can just take it and start shooting wherever you are. Not to mention, it can be run off some batteries if necessary. I think the greatest thing about this light is that it has the whisper silent fans. Honestly, I'm never concerned about fan noise with these lights. They might as well have been fanless because that is how quiet they are. So as an overall recommendation, maybe you're not ready for UL60, but you definitely want something better than the SL60w. My recommendation is get the ML60 bicolor if you want bicolor, or get the ML60 daylight if you know you'll never use bicolor. Either way, both of them are great. There are really no differences except for the bicolor capabilities, and one can be controlled from an app. So ultimately, SL60w is for budget people, ML60 is the perfect one right in the middle if you want convenient and portability, and the UL60 is designed for the person who's of professional level and wants everything to be absolutely perfect so that audio is never a concern. So hopefully that helps you out, but if I've missed something and you have questions, put them down in the comments. I will answer them as best as I possibly can. Also, don't forget to check out the channel. There's a lot more videos of lights on the channel, but also in-depth reviews on every single one of these lights we talked about about today. And if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend it as a lot more content is coming out. So with that, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.